Hi, everyone. It is me, Sailor Neptune, Sailor SeaWorld, Michelle here. And today we're going to talk about why Cloverway made me and Sarah Uranus, Sailor Skyworld, Amara, nearkin. Now, at first, a lot of folks who watched the Cloverway Sailor Moon, which most likely was the Pioneer Sailor Moon, and a lot of folks out there would think that by 20, because that's when it came out, they would think that the standards would have shifted. Well, no. You see, a lot of folks like to think, but many folks bring up how, Scave Dic for making Zoisite a woman. And we already talked about that. But if you thought that Zoisite was the only one that had to be shifted, you would be sadly mistaken on that one. When Sarah Uranus, Sailor Skyworld, and myself, Sailor Neptune, Sailor SeaWorld, when we showed up, and every other offshoot of Sailor Moon, we were Unstright lovers. And in the Pioneer world or Cloverway world, we were nearkin. Now, I know a lot of folks who were looking at the subbed Sailor Moon work before, because they didn't like the English work that Dic Lee had done, may have already known about us being on straight, and some may not. And other folks, could read through what was being said and saying, oh, well, they call themselves nearkin, but the way they behave and the things that they're doing don't match up with that, And I guess they're going to say, oh, because we were always around each other, or because we were always showing up to help someone, or mostly look for the Hearthurst that we thought other folks had, not knowing that we had it. Or does it grounds that we just happen to be around each other? I don't know. Maybe it was the holding hands thing. Well, who knows? Well, someone, looked more into it. Maybe it was how Amara liked to wear men's clothes. I don't know. Someone out there put two together and got it and saw through it. And the grounds to why they scaved Pioneer Glee, who had taken over doing the English work for Sailor Moon from Dic Lee. A lot of folks out there scaved that and thought that it was wrong. Now, nowadays, and a lot of folks will say, why did Pioneer have to do that? For, I guess, the same grounds that Dic did it. Because Pioneer was worried that there would be some worried bearers or worried keepers, or just folks who were, couldn't handle or weren't open-minded, to deal with unstraightness, if that's the English word it is, and didn't want those folks to, bitch, or call Cartoon or YTV, because they were the only folk works to have Sailor Moon on by that time, and make such a big stink about it, a big deal about it, that they would have to tell Cloverway Pioneer were sorry, tell Cloverway in Business and Pioneer Pathseeker Glee, sorry, it's a no-go. That's why I think it was done. It wasn't out of hatred. It wasn't out of, whatever, or some folks need to believe. I don't know why it was done. And then you had Fisheye, or also known as Fisheye, because the name doesn't really shift that much from Viz to Cloverway in Business to Pioneer in business, or Pioneer Glee, or Pathseeker Glee. And a lot of folks say that Fisheye is an unstraight man who, likes to clothe himself in women's clothing and shit. Now, if that's even true, and even if that's true, it doesn't behave that way at all. And even if that's true, well, you can know that Cloverway and Pioneer made scene it wouldn't be that way. And Fisheye became a woman. Yes, and Cloverway in business and Pioneer Glee's world, Fisheye is a woman. I know that pisses a lot of folks off. It is what it is. And I think the same grounds to why Fisheye became a woman was the same grounds to why Dic Glee had to make Zoisite a woman. I know they make a big deal out of it. But I think in Sailor Moon, I think that the Unstraight folks got handled a lot more got handled greater than with, say, other drawing shows or other drawing films from Dawnland around that same time. And a lot of folks always say, well, why did Zoisite become a woman? Under the same grounds to why Fisheye became a woman. The folks at Dic Glee at the time, and Dic Glee was owned by the Walt Disney business at the time. So they got worried that some folks would be watching Sailor Moon with their children and were worried that they would, somehow get a hold of UPN and WB and bitch about it until UPN and WB said, you can't do Sailor Moon, Dic Glee, or Walt Disney business. A lot of folks don't like the Unstraight. Now, nowadays, the standard, the mindset, the open-mindedness, and the trusting and the understanding of being unstraight and unstraight folks and unstraightness is way far from where it was. It doesn't mean to say there still are not folks out there there doesn't mean to say that there are still not folks out there who are against it, because yes, there still are. But there's a lot more folks out there who are now more trusting and open-minded of that. And there's more understanding of it. So that's why that Viz News didn't have to do anything to Sailor Moon beyond put it in English. That doesn't mean to say that the things that were going on in Viz's Sailor Moon were all right. It doesn't mean that all the mean things that were said and the fighting that was done and some of the deeds, it still doesn't make it right, but it means they didn't have to skim any of it. So that's my guess to why Dic Glee, Pioneer Glee, Cloverway in business had to skim the Unstraight and Sailor Moon. Now give me your thoughts about this. I, Sailor Neptune, Sailor SeaWorld Michelle, and I'll see you later.